Welcome to another edition of Elevate Your Grind, brought to you by the Cannabis Lab. I am your host, Todd Rosales, and we are still here, folks. The election has happened. We have no results, but we are still here. The one result that we are very excited about is almost every cannabis initiative on every ballot passed. New Jersey, I've been giving you crap on the lab report for the past 3 weeks. You did it. It's great. I will now be very excited when I go back to New York. I am excited till you open up your recreational market and I can check out the Crossroads Deli there, get some cannabis on the way. It's going to be a good time. Congratulations on all the states that have their new cannabis laws. We're really excited for you to join us. Folks, coming up next week, we've got our first cooking episode. That's going to be really exciting. We were not going to have an episode this week. We're going to take off time for the election, but every time I say that we're going to take off time for something, we don't. And we typically end up doing more episodes than we really would. But we have a very special episode this week. We talk often about the Florida market here on Elevate Your Grind, right? You've heard me mention it numerous amounts of times. You've heard me talk about the potential breakup of vertical integration. You've heard me give my opinion on the market that they need to lower the cost of entry to this market. I would love to see some smaller players come up, some niche players, some family-owned businesses. Well, it turns out somebody's been listening to me because we found just that. I wish I had more information about them. I wish that I had discovered them sooner, so this way my rants would have made more sense. But I came across them recently on Instagram, reached out, and I am very excited to have them on the show. So some of you might know who, maybe you probably don't know my specific guest today, but you're aware of a new company. It's a new marijuana, or we call them MMTCs down here in Florida, called the Flowery. So for you today to explore our new company here in Florida, learn everything about them, because here at C-Lab, that's what we care about. Please welcome Steph and Ori from the Flowery. Thank you both so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. It is my honor. So we talk about this all the time. When we look at the state of Florida, for the longest time, I've always said there are 14 or 15 companies that are actually operating after giving out 22 licenses. But the thing with those companies is they care a lot about market share. They're expanding rapidly. Some of these companies are expanding their retail locations before their grow can even support it. And Florida has kind of been a weird market. There has not been a company like the Flowery yet. So as I understand it, give us an overview of the business as it sits today. You have a retail location in Dade County, and you right now service Dade, Monroe, and Broward a little bit?
We do not have a physical location. We're only doing delivery at the moment. Our goal is to have a dispensary next year, but as of right now,
Okay.
We're only doing delivery. Next day delivery in Miami-Dade and Monroe County. And then we're doing these doctor pickup locations across the state, because we have received amazing feedback and love from a lot of people on Instagram and our website. And so we've partnered with Doc MJ right now, and we plan to expand with other doctors' offices. So we are touching a little bit across the state. And as we get bigger, the more we'll be able to do.
Very cool. Well, that's really exciting. And I want to dig into that strategy a little bit further in just a minute. But let's go all the way back to the beginning. So the Flowery was one of not the initial license receivers, but in that second round that took us from 14 to 22, that's when you received your license. Can you talk to us about, let's go all the way back, because as I understand on your website, it says you guys have been in business for a very long time, obviously not as a cannabis company, but as a nursery. Take us back to when you saw that cannabis legalization was going to happen here in Florida, applying for the license, and that process essentially to get your doors open, because you're showing us what it takes for a mom and pop business to get going in the state right now.
So originally, well, and still to this day, in order to qualify for the license, there were certain specific specifications. And one of them was you had to be a nursery business in business for at least 30 years. My family has been in the agriculture business starting next year for 100 years. Started
Wow.
in avocados, and the last 40 years, the nursery that actually got us the license, my family's had for 40 years. And so that was part of the fight. So we had all of the qualifications. and we didn't get it the first round. So we fought, and we actually sued the state along with the 7 or 8 other licensees, and we won. It's been 6 years, so it's something that we definitely didn't give up on. It was a passion of ours for a few reasons that we can get into in a little bit. Um, but we fought, and then we won out of those 7. But the reason why a lot of them have sold out is because it's a huge ticket. So some of these smaller nurseries, I mean, to them it was a lot easier to just sell your license versus doing the legwork and actually starting a company. But because of our passion, we knew from the beginning we were not selling it, that we were gonna create create a brand.
That's incredible. And I'm glad that you did, right? I'm glad that you guys were part of that process and you decided to create a brand here in Florida. And I'm really excited to watch you grow. Where does that passion come from? So what made you want to get into cannabis so much that instead of taking the easy route, as a lot of other companies did, that you're like, no, we're going to grind this out and we're going to make this happen?
So I have 3 brothers, and my youngest of the 3 brothers was in the military, and he served 2 tours in Iraq, and he suffered severely from PTSD and was given prescription medicine and all of that. And so he was the one originally that really fought for the license in the beginning. And he passed away 3 years ago. And that was something that just really affected our family even more, so that we already had a passion. And then with that situation, we had to do it for him. And then just to see, I mean, almost Ori included, almost our entire company are veterans. And it's a passion that there's an alternative medicine for them that's not going to be these prescription drugs. So that was our big driver, is the passion of believing in cannabis and its effects. And then of course my brother, but the combination of the 2.
That's really cool. I love hearing the family component of it, and the veteran component of it is great. And Ori, to transition over to you for a second, I saw in your bio that I believe that you served in the Israeli army. So I'm imagining that you have background. You're probably from Israel if you served there.
That's right. I was born in Israel, but raised in Iowa, which is a rare combination.
Yeah.
And rather than go to college, my family encouraged me to actually go back to Israel and do the army as part of my growing up and kind of discovering myself, and of course giving back to the country and in service. And so like Steph, I think I was drawn to the family and to the story that motivated them in large part because of their personal connection to it, and also because I think there is the real underpinnings of success in what we're doing down there. By any measure, we're small. We're definitely the underdog in this race, and we're a little bit late to the game because of the legal fight that we had to have. But if you strip away some of those perceived disadvantages, I think what we're bringing to the market is really unique, and it's founded on something that's very honest and from the heart. And I think I really trust Floridians to see through it all and connect with us. And more than anything, I mean, I should mention that it's not just about emotion, and we really truly are growing some of the best, if not the absolute best, flower in Florida, and that's something to be proud of.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you guys might be late to the game, but if I have to be honest with you, the patients in Florida are looking for more options. And no, again, nothing against the MMTCs that we have here. Each one of them have great products in their portfolio, right? But one of the beautiful things about cannabis legalization is creating an actual free market and creating a marketplace. So although you all are late to the game, I certainly see an opportunity for the patients in Florida to want to give you a try, because they are looking for other options. They're looking for everything. This isn't like technology. It's not Uber or Lyft where you have to use Uber, you have to use Lyft, or you're getting somebody into a subscription package. They're buying a product one time or multiple times, or they're finding different things that they want. I mean, I can tell you, since the shutdown happened, I used to think we got all our groceries from Publix. This is a dumb analogy now that I'm bringing it up, but I realize we get some things from Publix, some things from Whole Foods, some things from the fresh market. So I absolutely see the opportunity for you guys to have a place in this market, especially with we'll call it now 16 operating companies or something along those lines, right? So we're excited that you all are here. So, Ori, it's great that you joined the team. Steph, going back to you, so now you have this license, you have the opportunity to start a cannabis company, you have the background in agriculture and farming. What happens next? You have to kind of sit back, put that plan on paper, organize a team. Where do you even start looking for people to join you? Where did you find Ori?
So we do, or I don't know if Ori will do a better job of introducing or giving a little bit about his background, but we also, it's not just my family. And at this point, I mean, Ori is part of my family. So whether somebody is just on our team, I still consider Ori family, some of our other partners family. So we do have, not only do we have agriculture background in Florida, we also have part of our team has background in growing wholesale in Washington State. So we really have an A team, and we have our grow master has years of experience. So it's not like we're just coming from our simple nursery business. We also have other people on our team that are professional that have had 5+ years in the actual businesses in Washington State. So helping us with our setting up and actually growing and everything like that. So I really am confident in our team and family, as I like to say, that we have the A game, I think. A team, yeah. Sorry.
Steph is cutting herself out. Steph comes with a background that's very relevant of her own. She worked for Bacardi for many years and then for other alcohol distributors in the marketing department. And so she's currently leading our sales and marketing team and really pulling it together from the ground up. So it's a unique project, but we're also very blessed to have her be part of the family and be available to help us.
I got to tell you,
never thought I would be back in the family business.
It's like the mob. Once you're out, they just pull you right back in, huh?
It's funny.
No, so I mean, listen, I was someone who personally has a background in sales and marketing, and that's what I do. I think Steph's the most important person in your company, absolutely. But I think obviously coming from Bacardi, that's funny that you work for Bacardi. In a past life, and this is where the show completely goes off the rails. In a past life, I worked in enterprise sales, and Bacardi was a client of ours.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Yeah, when I worked for a company called Champion Solutions Group, I've never actually mentioned that on this show, and Bacardi was a client of ours. We did an Office 365 implementation for you. So if that went well, it was me. If it wasn't, it was the company. They did a terrible job.
Totally.
So, but I'm sure that the background that you had with Bacardi gives you an idea of how to approach marketing regulated substances, right? Because obviously, as everybody knows, and I complain about this on the show all the time, is there are so many traditional marketing channels that even were available to you at Bacardi, they're not available to you in cannabis. You can't use paid Facebook or social media or Google ads. How was that transition, even though you were in a regulated substance industry, coming to cannabis and trying to start from scratch with a new playbook?
So in the alcohol industry, the challenge is when you work for an actual brand, you can't sell your product directly to a consumer. So that was always my challenge then. This is a whole nother much bigger challenge. That the amazing thing about digital advertising is everything is analytics. So you can measure things. It's not like you're just trusting a publication that what they say their readership is and pass-through rate and all of that. The amazing thing about digital is you can track all of these things. You can you can target so specifically. And right now we can't do any of that. So I'm working on some creative ideas, but I'm more than happy to listen to any ideas or suggestions that you have or any of your listeners do, because there's similarities, but there's a lot of differences. And one thing I do want to touch on is I've been very impressed at how educated and knowledgeable the consumers are in Florida. I have a passion, and I'm technically an expert in wine, and I think it trumps the winos and the wine geeks and stuff like that. It's been amazing and scary at the same time.
Well, on that note, coming from the wine industry, there's actually an ex-colleague of mine that I stayed friends with at a different organization. We always joked around about reinventing Gary Vee's wine library, except making it weed library. I'm sure there's a bunch of shows out there like that already. But it's interesting how it does kind of line up with the wine industry. I think that's what the cannabis industry is going to look like when we get to maturity. You know, you're going to have your EJ Gallos and your mainstream wines that people right out of college are going to buy for date night because they don't know any better. And then you're going to have your super niche brands vintages from different areas and everything else. And you can see my lack of knowledge in wine. But, we see you here in Florida as an excellent niche company that is craft, right? And that's something that is missing in this state, that is just pure craft cannabis. Not, okay, we have craft as part of our grow and we, subset this part of the grow facility for this particular flower, but everything else is grown the normal way. It's interesting to see what you're doing. So how hard, on that note, how hard was it to transition your facilities from growing whatever you've been growing to now approaching cannabis? I'm assuming it's taking it indoor, and there's a lot of other factors that go into it to make you do what you do right now.
So they're two completely different companies. So our growing facilities are 100% indoor, which, as you know, creates quality control that is not going to be things in the outdoor or hurricanes or pollen from a different type of species, because it is Homestead and there's all sorts of things being grown down there. So our facility is 100% indoor. And kind of to touch a little bit on that is, going back to the wine for a second, is education. I think teaching the consumer, because our prices are not on the low end, they are on, because it's a premium product, but educating the consumer of why our product costs more and explaining that. Because back to the wine thing, I understand the difference between a $10 bottle of wine and a $50 bottle of wine. But that college student or somebody else might not know. But if they really understood the difference, then they might be, at least for a date night, they might be willing to spend the $50 on the wine. So that's something that is my initiative with us, is I really believe in education, and I really want to teach the consumers about our product and what makes us special and what makes our flowers so good.
Right. And to that end, I mean, so you asked, I'll answer your question quickly about how we leverage the knowledge base of 40, well, really 100 years, but 40 plus years of nursery, and the skill set that we have in the team. I mean, it is, while it's a completely different animal, so to speak, there's no question that we're able to do really remarkable things with the knowledge that we have in terms of irrigation, in terms of lighting, in terms of experimenting, in terms of build out, in terms of holding down some of those costs so that we really can put more of the love into the people that are processing it and into the care of the plant. So to help educate some of the consumers, I think that's really important to know, and what makes our plant so special. And I think you really said it the best, Todd, when you talked about, we are going to market specifically with this, very small batch craft, all handled by individuals who care a lot about their jobs. The plants get 24-hour attention, quite literally, and including getting music played to them.
Oh, wow.
We literally pipe music, like literally paid money to pipe music into probably should have asked me before they did that, but hey, it's part of. Do you guys
make that a public playlist so we can listen to it too?
That's kind of, that's a great idea. That's actually, that's why we need Todd on the
We have actually, on Instagram, we have asked, and we played music that we asked for requests.
There we go.
That's funny.
So all that, but I really do think that what makes it special is the care that goes into the plant. And in a sense, it's kind of, when you go back to that concept of being the late entrance and the smaller player, the David to the Goliaths of the other competitors out there, that's really all we can do to be special. We don't have, the deep pockets of Canadian stock market to expand quickly, or to put things in the most fancy packaging. But what we do have is a passion for the plant. We have the know-how, we have the skill set to create the best flower, which in general has been lacking in Florida. And that's what we recognized, identified as an opportunity. And we realized that in using our sort of limitations to kind of create a brand that's really genuine. So as an example, our packaging is actually quite nice, to be honest. It's biodegradable plastic and it has this really cool container, but it's not terribly flashy. And the idea is put less money into the packaging, put more money into the flower, and so on and so forth. And pretty much across the board, that's how we do it. Another example is that all our flowers 100% hand trimmed. And the people doing it, I can't really describe the passion care that they go, whether it's the microscope, the magnifying glass with a light, and just the care and camaraderie that goes into that process. I think hopefully those good vibrations are coming through.
Maybe that's one of the songs that you guys are playing to the plants as well.
I'm pretty sure it is. There's a lot of reggae going on.
I knew that was a plant. So you guys grinded it out. You put together the A team. You've got the grow set up, and now all of a sudden it's time to go to market. And you started with delivery. Was that by design? Because we talked to Brady Cobb. He was one of the first people, literally the first person on this podcast. And one plant started with delivery to test the markets to see where they should open their dispensaries. At the time when I spoke to Brady, I thought it was a great idea. And they're one of the few people that started that way. I don't want to say that you guys are taking the same path, but I am always very interested with people who start with delivery because, and Mike from One Plant said this, forever when you bought cannabis, how did he do it? You bought it, you called your guy, he showed up, he brought it to you. Why change it, right? Dispensaries are great. I think dispensaries today are more for people, A, that just feel like going out and shopping, or B, people that need an education and want to talk to a bud tender. But there are a lot of people that can look at your website, see the strains you have, look at terpene profiles and things like that, be like, okay, this is what I want to try, where delivery comes in. Because I'll be honest, I'm lazy. I don't want to go to the store. I'd rather you just bring it to me, right? So what was the decision to start with delivery over a physical location?
Right. Well, I think it's a multitude of, first of all, we didn't necessarily copy One Plan, but we certainly arrived at the same philosophy that they did, which is perhaps not surprising. It's a pretty solid plan since we chose it and they did too. In terms of choosing to do it, there's a couple of reasons, but it really, you already spoke about a couple of them. It really is how we believe most people are used to shopping for it. Again, thinking about putting up costs of putting up a dispensary versus putting it into your flower. It's much, you can translate all those overhead costs and put it into a flower and into the product, and then bringing it out to people, going faster to market. Our ability to be in Sarasota today, we could have never, which we did a drop in Fort Myers and Sarasota. We could have never done that a month after opening in a dispensary setting. So I think it's a lot of what you're talking about. I think just coincidentally, we got our license right in the middle of, finally got our authorization, I should say, around right in the middle of COVID. So that just adds another layer of convenience and sort of the times. As Steph mentioned, I think there's no doubt that dispensaries are on our mind and part of the rollout plan. I think they play a role in the experience the customer has, education, as you said. But I think ultimately getting to market, and developing that customer base, or we like to think about as family, expanding our family, delivery is really the best way to do it in terms of speed to market and reach.
I think delivery is great, and the fact that you guys are partnering with doctors' offices to be able to do it is a brilliant idea. I didn't even know that was possible, so that's really cool. I know, so I work during the day, I work for Spring Big, and I can tell you there are a lot of people in our office that are really excited, and they joked around, they're like, hey, can we make a drop-off location at the Spring Big office next? I'm like, I said I would mention it, so we'll talk about that after the fact.
It's really funny. I was actually going to bring up, I'm sorry, I was going to bring up loyalty programs as being, the family concept is really important to us. And so it's really funny that I don't know if this is like a major conflict of interest, but I did want to talk about our forthcoming loyalty program, because we really believe that that's the best way, again, to the extended family concept, right? You've heard Steph talk about the family. I most certainly feel a part of the family. I've eaten countless lunches at their kitchen table. And know 3 generations of the family, and so we want to just extend that family through a loyalty program, and in that way we believe we can very significantly offset some of those expenses that Steph's talked about. We are on the higher end of the market. We're not quite the $50 bottle of wine, but we're probably that $20 bottle of wine as opposed to the 10. And we think that through loyalty programs, probably the best way for us to kind of help people manage those costs and bring them down.
Absolutely. Hey, man, you know, I'm all about the loyalty programs. I'm in loyalty programs for a bunch of the dispensaries down here. I'm a big fan. I think it's a great program. And, you know, especially if you're going to be a premium product to be able to help people every so often get rewarded for staying with you. I think it's a phenomenal idea. I'm excited that you guys are doing that. And I actually noticed that right on your website. So, you know, going back to you, Steph, you are a late entrant into the market, but you've kind of had a chance to sit back and see what everybody else is doing, see what you like, see what you don't like, take the best from everybody. What are some of the programs? And yes, I do know that COVID is a thing. So, you know, what are some of the things that you're excited to get going, as the pandemic comes down, or just going for the future to spread the word about the Flowery? Because I think your packaging is great. I think the marketing you've done on your website is great. And I'm excited to see how you guys are going to get the word out and approach the market.
That is the $1 million question. No, so our focus right now is really going to be getting to, a few prong approach, but one of them I think is definitely a doctor outreach and getting material to the doctor's offices, building these relationships with them so that they could also be kind of part of the family and brand ambassadors of, hey, look, I'm sure they get tons of patients asking about flower, and we could be that answer. So that's one thing. And then of course, still trying to do the social, even though we can't do advertising, building relationships with influencers and other people. I mean, this is an amazing industry in the fact that there's so much passion and so much kindness, to be honest. I mean, I know a lot of people have complained about the pricing, but other than that, like, we've had such amazing positive feedback with people and their passion for this industry. So just building those relationships. I mean, the biggest thing is getting our name out there.
Yeah, you know, I can tell you as somebody who's on the board of Cannabis Lab and does their podcast and somehow fell ass backwards into becoming somewhat of the face of this organization. We have a great family of people within Cannabis Lab, and we would love, if we're ever allowed to have in-person events again, to have you guys there and join us and join the family. You know, it's South Florida is a very interesting cannabis community, and we're all excited to have you. So we definitely want you to be involved in our events, talk about the industry, and, you know, as much as we can help you out, we're very excited to. We want it. We are friends with everybody. And if we can figure out a way into your family, we'd be happy to do so as well.
Please. No, I love it.
I think that should just be the name of the loyalty program. It should just say, join the family, enter your email.
Yeah, basically it is that, but we're actually signing up with Spring Dig. So I'm hoping that will actually make it look more professional and completed. We were just kind of taking step by step, you know, getting everything set up. And it has been amazing how many people have actually reached out on one form of another to want to join the program that's not even set up yet. So we have an amazing email base already, passionate people, and I think it'll just grow once we get the Spring Dig set up too.
Right. And I
Very
think,
cool. Well, I wasn't even fishing for that, but that's great news.
It's
Michaela,
true,
I'm
though.
100% taking credit for that. Look, I'm just going to take all the credit for this deal because you announced it right here on the show. So I'm going back to the office tomorrow with the great, but that's great news. I'm glad that you guys are joining our family as well. Ori, I cut you off there. I think you were joining in. You're going to say something.
No, I just, you know, I'm reminded of when we answered the question around delivery, and we talked about how traditionally folks got their cannabis delivered to them. I think it's along the same lines. I think that that's the way people learned about good stuff around town is one from another. And while we are certainly going to be very active in terms of programs and outreach to media organizations, yourself, industry organizations, so on and so forth. I mean, those are all part of it. But what we're really hoping is that our story gets out there and it catches on and people start to trust and know that we're their source for when they're looking for high quality flower, which again has been sort of absent in the market. And we hear that time and again. We've seen it firsthand, frankly, in our team. And ours really does stand out. And we hope that we become known for that, because it's what we're passionate about, that our story resonates with people. As you said at the onset of the call, that, you know, we are somewhat of the underdog and frankly, the genuine thing. And then finally, again, the rewards program. So just pass it on, pass it on, pass it on. And in that way, maybe create something that's a little bit different than the sterile, sort of cold clinical, or even just big business marketing approach that some of the other companies have taken, right?
No, yeah, and you all are certainly unique. There is definitely not a family owned or a small cannabis company in the state of Florida. I mean, from a dispensary standpoint, I would probably say Rise is the smallest company in the state of Florida, but clearly they're owned by GTI, which is a massive MSO and is publicly traded, right? So they're the closest thing to being a small business in the state because they have 6 dispensaries, right? So I think everybody, honestly, I think everybody within C-Lab, I think everybody in the state of Florida is really excited to see what you guys do and really excited to see what you bring to market. Like I said, I know people that are north of Broward County and in Palm Beach and above, they're excited to know when they can get access to you guys and figure that out. I don't know if you have a timetable. I mean, selfishly, I'm asking for myself. I live in Palm Beach County.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually really important. Steph, did you want to tell? I'm sorry, I think we're going to say the same thing.
We're actually going to be at Palm Beach tomorrow. So let's communicate out offline. So on our website, we have an events tab that we just put on, and all of our email base that anyone that signs up, I ask for their county. And so I've sent out an email to each person that has said that and let them know that we're doing a drop off. So tomorrow, and again, this is kind of a last minute thing that we're just doing, but we're going to actually do more of a calendar by next week that'll have like our whole month of where we're going to be across the state. So tomorrow is at West Palm and Fort Lauderdale. So if you place your order by technically 8 p.m., but we can make some exceptions for sure.
We're going to have to finish this show soon so I can get an order in.
Cut it off, cut it off.
We'll
You know, I
make
want to expand on what Steph said, and it's absolutely true. And I think this is kind of the fun part about, again, joining our family is there's human beings behind us, right? Like we are people. And so you asked about expansion, and we are anxious to hear from you, right? And anxious to hear from people around the state. And so if there's listeners out there that are up in Tallahassee or the Panhandle or in Jacksonville or wherever, Central Florida, we actually do want to hear from you. And to the degree you can help us fill a truck or fill out a visit to a doctor's office, you know, refer us. Well, one, of course, we'd like to help you out for doing that, but more importantly, like that's how this will work. We're human beings talking to other human beings, and again, I think it's just a vastly different approach than what people are used to in cannabis and frankly any other business these days.
Very cool. So I took the liberty to look up the Doc MJ location in West Palm Beach while we were here. For those of you in Palm Beach County, it is right on the corner of Military Trail and Okeechobee, actually just a little bit south of Military not on Okeechobee. Yeah, it's a little bit south of Okeechobee on Military. So anybody in Palm Beach County, get your orders in the next hour. Help them fill the truck. Let's keep them coming back. I'm very excited for that. You know, it's interesting when I look at the approach that you're taking, especially with these drop-off locations, it's almost like a food truck strategy, if you will, right? You know, it's like you're a new restaurant on the block. You're having these little pop-up shops. You're bringing your food truck to different locations. People are buying, and then you're getting the word of mouth for it. And then eventually, once you know where the food truck does the best, you're going to open up permanent restaurants. I think it's a very similar strategy, and that's really cool.
It's a cool analogy.
Yeah, like come back to work.
I'd be using that one.
It'd be a lot easier if you could actually be like a food truck, just open the side of the door and sell cannabis out the side, but we're not there yet. So
I did ask actually, what is the difference? Like, I don't understand what the difference is, but it's again a gray area that it's not said that you're not allowed, but it's not said you're allowed either. So
Interesting. Well, I'm sure there are a few lawyers watching this that wouldn't mind reaching out to you with some advice. So you're probably going to get hit up after this. So a few times on this interview, and we're getting, towards the end here because I got to get my order in, but you focus on high quality flower. And I think that's incredible because there is a need for that in this market, especially consistent and highly available. Are there plans to expand into other categories, or are you just going to continue to focus on flower for now?
Ori, I'll let you answer. Yes, we definitely are. Ori knows better timing of what we would do first, and
Right.
Sure.
So again, sort of turning our how do I want to say this? Our perceived disadvantage to our advantage. We focus on flower because that's what we know how to do and we know how to do it well. But on our team, and Steph kind of referenced it, myself included, we've done quite a bit of work in Washington State and in other states, and we have the skill sets to expand into other categories. We have every intention to do that. We recognized early on that there's a real gap in this high quality flower, and our flower, to put it in perspective, I think there's only one strain that's tested under 20, and we've had 3 strains test over 30. And so the medium is, of course, in between there around 25. We want to get known as those that have high quality flower in stock. And availability was another thing I wanted to bring up, and thank you, Todd, for bringing that up. One of the reasons we're slow rolling the rollout is because we've heard consistently that there's this frustration of, at least every once in a while, we do get flower and you go back the second time and it's not there. And so one of the things we want to do and create this family approach is to make sure we have always enough flower for the people that want it. You asked a different question. You asked about, derivative products. And already we have, I think, joints, pre-rolls going on our website from the same quality flower today. And then down the road, of course, we want to get into concentrates of different forms, including vapes and edibles and tinctures and all the above. But the important part is first to scale that flower production. For those that are truly in the know, they know that the yields on those can be pretty small, and so you need to have a pretty significant amount of biomass even to make that happen. Focus on the flower, develop a brand following around that flower, and get people to recognize us for what we know we are, which is the best growers in Florida. And then the derivative products, we believe, down the road in terms of timing could be about a year away, maybe some of them even less. But in that time, they'll already recognize our quality starting material. At the end of the day, until something else happens, the beneficial qualities of the cannabis plant, all the cannabinoids, are coming from a plant. And so the better we grow that and the better we produce that, that's starting with raw material. That is truly the raw material, right? And so what you put in, you get out.
I got to tell you, you talked about availability and things, having a selection. For someone who just entered the market, I'm looking at the menu for the West Palm. Clearly, I'm gearing up to place an order, but you have 10 strains available, which is incredible. Listen, I am not talking bad about the other MMTCs out there, but it's very rare that you see 10 strains available from a single provider, especially 10 high quality strains. Like you had said,
I wish you would see the test results there.
Yeah, I'm looking through all 10 and they're all over 20%. Yeah, there's one that's right at 20 and there's one that's under. But other than that, they're all over 20%. They all look beautiful in the pictures. I'm assuming that these are real pictures. So listen, I think people are excited. I think people are excited for a new player on the block. That's not, listen, Cookies is coming here. People are excited for that, but it's going to be a very long time till we're here. And we don't know if it's going to be seen quality that it is out in California. They're excited for the name and they're excited for the hype around it. There's been talk about Jungle Boys coming in here. Same thing, but it's still, it's still corporate, right? You guys are the first mom and pop business in the state of Florida for the most part. And I think people are excited about it. I've seen a lot of it on Instagram and everything else. I see people placing orders, going to pick them up. What are you two excited about now that you're starting to come out of your shell? You're doing interviews now, you're doing this show, you're getting out in the market, you've got your Instagram going, you've got your marketing going, you're dropping off at doctors' offices. What most excites you about the rest of the year in 2021?
Steph, you want to take it? I know what excites me. You want to give you
go first. Let me think about that.
So I know, and Todd's going to eat this up. I'm actually most excited about our rewards program that we're about to roll out, because it goes back to how we view this business at its core, which is a family. And I really truly believe that, I understand it'll take time and it's probably a slower burn, but once it starts going, it's the hotter embers, right? It's the deep fire, right? We can come out there and do specials and try and come out with fancy packaging and raise money and splash the whole state with, you know, with dispensaries that don't have product. Or we can come to market slow and steady and build true relationships with people and develop a way for them to afford our product through loyalty and really grow a family. And I understand it's going to take time, but that's what I'm most excited about, is to get the buzz, to convert the buzz. Currently, we have these early adopters. These people have heard of us. Hopefully, appearances on your show will spark additional sparks all over the state and in South Florida. But that's what I'm most excited about, is growing our family in a truly like a loyalty kind of perspective.
I'm excited about that too. Steph?
I mean, the similar situation. I mean, I'm honestly, I'm just excited for all of it. I know that's kind of stupid to say, but I mean, this is a whole new industry for me. And so, and I joined my family business that I said I would never do. So always fun to eat your own words and be happy to, because, and it's been amazing. It's, and it's entertainment because my brothers they're the farmers. They're not the professional business, like they are businessmen, but they're not I actually come from the corporate world. So I'm bringing kind of like the organizational stuff to the team. And so it's been fun, but overall, I'm just excited about the new industry and the company and to bring something new to Florida too.
No, that's incredible. I mean, you know, I think a lot of us would love to join the family business if it was in cannabis, and I think it's going to be an interesting conversation.
That's what my husband says. He's like, how do you always get the coolest freaking jobs in the best industries?
You went from alcohol to cannabis. I mean, I don't know what's left for you to go to.
But no, I don't either.
Mushrooms just got legalized in Oregon.
That's true. You're gonna have to bone up on psilocybin and DMT and everything else.
Oh Lord.
No, very cool. Well, listen, it's been awesome talking to you both, and we are really excited for you to be in the market. We've got some comments. Someone said that they're picking some up tomorrow already. People are excited to try you out. Folks, I know, and I haven't told you guys this, the front of the interview was cut off on Facebook. Don't worry. We're going to edit this down. We're going to put it on our YouTube, youtube.com/elevateyourgrind. In about 2 weeks, you'll be able to dig into this further. They're going to be even bigger in 2 weeks. You're definitely going to hear them. You would have tried them up by now. Before I let you guys go, is there any promotions, Instagram handles, websites? So you're going to be tomorrow. And so, folks, we've got 42 minutes left to get our orders in. So if you're in West Palm or if you're in Fort Lauderdale, get your orders in tonight, meet up with them tomorrow, say hi, let them know that you saw them on this show. Not for any reason specifically, I just want to know, but get your orders in. And then do you have any other drop-off location or any other pop-ups that you guys want to talk about for the rest of the week or next week? So this way we can hopefully get you some more orders.
So our website, one thing to mention is flowery.co, not .com. And then our Instagram and Facebook handle is floweryfl, or the Flowery FL, sorry. And then first timers, we do have a first time promotional code. Like I said, we don't have the loyalty program quite set up. So it's just the basic. So it's first timer 15 for 15% off. If the person you just looked at didn't get that, we'll be sure to add that in.
Cool.
And yeah, I think that's about it. Next week, we're debating. We haven't finalized. We're either going to be in Tampa, Orlando area, or possibly Jacksonville, but we're working that out. But if we get enough emails and feedback of going to a specific one, that's the great thing about being a smaller company. You can make decisions on the fly and it doesn't take a week to get an answer. We could do it in a day or a minute.
That's beautiful. Market share on demand. And then one more question before I let you go. We've got 10 strains here. I'm going to make you guys pick a favorite. We've got 777, we got Banana Kush, Garlics, Golden Nugget, Gorilla Glue number 4, Lemon Amnesia, Master Kush, OG Purple Kush, Wedding Cake, and White Fire. I need one favorite from each of you, even if you're lying.
Okay, well, I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, so I cannot have a Florida medical marijuana card. So in all honesty, I have not had the opportunity to try our products, but I have been part of all of the customer service. So I've listened to lots of feedback from many patients. Can I give 2?
Go
Okay,
for
I'm
2.
gonna
I'll
do
take 2.
lemon yellow. No, I'm gonna.
Because I was
follow
going to
the
get
rules.
2 anyway.
I'm gonna follow the rules. Lemon yellow is the one, or lemon amnesia is the one that I've heard of the most positive. It's a sativa, so it's a upper.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I heard good things about the Banana Kush. The buds are a little smaller, so don't be alarmed. That's just the way the plant grew. But the nose on them is incredible, and that's what I heard.
Very cool. Well, thank you guys both so much for doing the show. We'll definitely have to have you on a few more times as you grow and as you expand throughout the state. Anytime you have updates or if you want to make announcements, feel free to reach out and give us a holler. But thank you both again for being on the show.
Well, thank you so much. This was fun. I was a little nervous, but you were great and made it relaxing. And we greatly appreciate everything you've done.
Definitely. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, we try to make sure everybody has fun here. That's the point of the show. But hey, thank you guys for being in the state of Florida. We're really excited to watch you grow. And thank you to everybody at home. We really appreciate you joining us, especially with all the uncertainty going on in the country. What we do know for certain is that cannabis is popular wherever it's on the ballot. So congratulations again to those states. As I said, this interview will be on our YouTube page in about 2 weeks, youtube.com/elevateyourgrind. Join us on Monday night. We're going to be a little bit later than usual. We're going to be on at 7 p.m. Eastern for our first ever cooking episode. That is going to be awesome. I actually have to look at Shadi's cookbook and pick out some recipes to make for you guys, but that's going to be really excited. So that's 7 p.m. Monday, facebook.com/cannabisbusiness group. This has been another episode of Elevate Your Grind. We're out.